Alright, so around here, these like Jeffrey Epstein pedo bangers are always the ones that are like, they get into office, okay? They get into political office all the time, and then they are a part of the inoculation. And that's kind of the reasons why they get into office. But the like system that they copied, those Nazis let me like research what that system they copied is, because essentially my profile operates in that, in the system that they copied. The dark web system, the dark web profile that I have. And so then essentially they're supposed to just like blackmail people into me getting like executive jobs or running for office and shit. And that they're not doing that. And so, I don't spend my life chasing that stuff. Never have. One time the witch told me that she didn't have to be rich and she didn't have to be powerful. And that all she wanted was 2 cars and a Rambler and a white picket fence. And that when a witch tells me something like that, that's where a witch intuitively knows what love, what real life is, what reality is. And that when she told me that, that is what I strive to do. That's what I really work for. But since Witch was doing a second life, and that's where the wizard only wants her doing one life. And so, with that, comes where the wizard does a second life, where I basically torment these people because I went and researched what they're supposed to be doing. And that since the witch didn't want power and money, then sadistly, the wizard has to figure out ways to make the witch and the wizard have power and money. In that dark web that they use around here. Okay, they copied the Nazi Mickey Mouse kind of dark web shit, okay, for this cover up stuff. And that they're not doing it right. So essentially, these people that it's like I've read articles around here about how one of the state senators or something was like using the office to like get special perks and shit like that. Okay, that person is a pedo banger, and that those people around here that get into office, most of them are pedo bangers, and that they're not now they get outfitted with those speakers eventually, and then they sit around whining. They whine and bitch and moan about those fucking speakers torturing them and shit. And yeah, you're not gonna get much fucking sympathy from me because I literally found the only smart thing to ever do with a hearing aid, besides if you're deaf as an old man. Which is my sleep education stuff. And that is my like scientific intellectual property. And that's what I do with that stuff. I periodically, the whole idea is that everybody uses that profile of mine to do these discussions in. So, I research that stuff because it's not smart. Whatever they're talking about isn't smart. Like, MIT super geniusness stuff, and then it's not smart. This is an example of where I research everybody that speaks in it, and that if you're not doing super genius like explanations in the correct way, then that'll get noticed by me, because these people that do this, that that well, there's some military guys that they put in like a lecture that's structured in a specific way that has keywords that build in like a data mine, and then it eventually leads to a lecture. Okay, that's the correct way to do that stuff. So when these people use it to have their little fucking secret discussions and shit, they're not doing it correctly. And that's the kind of stuff that gets noticed by me. Because if it's part of my project, then it'll start with one word. A lot of times it'll start with like a number, and then it works in these data mine kind of like a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme way that goes to an extensive data mine, and then eventually leads to like a preliminary survey course lecture that then works into like a capstone type of lecture, and then works into like a master's degree lecture, and then eventually goes to like a PhD kind of a lecture. And so that's what my sleep project education is, and that the only audios that should be in my hearing aids should be structured in that way. These dumb pedo bangers, they just have like a direct access to it. And then they seem to think, see, if they don't this is what's changed around here. There, now that I have them fuck clubbed, now that I have them groomed on using it, now if it's not structured in the intellectuals like sleep education way, then the AI in it highlights their fucking discussion, and then lets everybody in the dark web around here hear their like top secret discussion. All right. See, in the town that has the highest PhD per capita, the stupidest people exist around here. Imagine what proving to the people with PhDs in the city that has the highest PhD per capita. Imagine what proving going to sleep and then learning what their boring ass like nuclear chemistry shit is, basically. Oh, it's boring. Part of it is it keeps you asleep because it's so boring, but the reality is that I'm able to comprehend what they're saying because I have preliminary like education in chemistry and mathematics and shit like that. Okay, and nuclear. Okay, so that's a lot about my sleep education, is that if you don't have some preliminary schooling on the stuff, then you'll probably have a difficult time actually learning a lot of that stuff. But the reality is that it's structured in a certain way, and that they don't have anything to worry about, but it doesn't like expose their lectures or whatever, and that the computer program that they use has extra parameters in it that if it's not structured in the right discussion way, that then everything gets purged out to all the stupid tech nerds everywhere. And that the only people that use it, besides the scientists that get the military guys to upload the lecture that they structure in the correct way. Control. See, there's been so many years of these people, like, see, everything that they're talking about nowadays is already documented in it. They're too Jewing. And you're not allowed to too Jew. I don't need 2 lectures on the same. It's kind of like, it's like a Wikipedia for lectures in ways. And that when the military guys see me like demonstrate on it, basically, then it like gets shut off as a lecture. And so that is where, smart people, we do this smart stuff. Then people are always hacking into it, having their secret pedo bang plans and shit like that, okay? And that they're so groomed at putting in their little top secret stuff into it that military guys see who it is first. If Patty Murray or somebody that isn't stupid as fuck and shit from the Democratic Party, if they needed to have an isolated discussion or something for any pertinent kind of idea, that stuff, the scientists would just erase it because they're not pedo bangers. And so that's kind of the rules of that. And that apparently, like, never telling them in the form of ghost, which is what their communication methods are to all their victims. Apparently, the abusers don't understand the language of ghosts because nobody told them what grooming them into blatantly talking about all their pedo bang stuff is. See, and make stupid fucking dumb cuck 44 like stupid fucking retards. That. They didn't know what that was. I mean, it got told to them in Ghost Nothing. So, basically, these people are like constantly accessing that profile, thinking that all of that stuff is secret. And that when it becomes like a stupid group of people that are pedo bangers that are like orchestrating their fuck over of some victim that's divulging all of their information and shit, that stuff gets purged out because it's not part of the sleep education project. And so then all the tech nerds around here, they get to sit there, they broadcast it, they find all the people, and it's them who does that. See, the sleep education project doesn't need loops of your guys' little pedo bang paranoia discussions. Okay? It's meant for a structured scientific sleep education system that's being researched for a future of technology and education. See, this is like where I wanted the Department of Education. See, I found all these frat guys and shit cheating with speakers that they get. And then I know that it makes the Department of Education hate it. Okay, they did. And so part of my project is to figure out how to force in no cheating and to replace the access to the speakers with here is your classes, here is brainwashes of the education of your classes while you sleep. And that then the future of this is for Department of EDU AI to be locating, to be finding people that are cheating with speakers in college, and then to be shutting that stuff off, and then to be brainwashing them with class targeted brainwash education instead. They'll end up being smart. So that's kind of like where these stupid ass people, this is like where I love to do things that are like sadist at them because they're sadist. And that in the ways of their world, you have to switchy bitch them. So to sadistly make them think that they have a secret discussion round, and then to have that live broadcasted to literally most dark webs across the world. Sadist. And then around here, since my profile they click on is the only profile that they would ever be able to have, like a secret discussion where no hack. See, in the past, no hacker would be able to hear they would, because they do like live camera stuff. They have like full conference, video conference stuff. And that in the past, the hackers wouldn't have been able to see that stuff around here. And so now that I got them groomed as stupid fucking pedo bangers to be stupid as fuck, which is what my grooming method is at pedo bangers, to make them stupid as fuck. And so then they put in all their top secret plans. They do. And then hackers, I go and find hackers because I know what they're like. I know what their psychology is. I know everything about the exact data mine of stereotypical fucking hackers. And it's like, these people think this is secret. And then they start broadcasting it everywhere. And then they like to show everybody around them how these people think that their like little secret discussion is all secret and shit. And then they make a whole production about it. Well, they're not entitled to be getting into my project. They're not allowed to use that. I never gave them permission. I told the scientists to finally cracked in to that system. Because I would use speakers. The military guys would need me to have speakers in the past so that I could look to see if somebody was a crazy pedo banger that was running for office and stuff. I used to verify that stuff for them because they would have a hack on my computer and they would tell me some keywords and then I would type it into the computer, into Lena's computer, and then I would access the pedo bang blackmail system, and then the Pentagon or National Security, whoever it was, it doesn't really matter to me. I didn't care. I would show them because they would see my screen and then they would verify what extortion that person was being controlled by. And that was the only reason why I was using that stuff in the past. But while I was using it, or when I would have hearing aids here and there from time to time, then I would do my sleep education project because I told the scientists that finally got the military guys to be able to put the passcode into my speaker, because it has to come in that way. and that the scientists that had these military guys that were trying to get into accessing that profile so that they could put the keywords into my speaker for me to access that stuff for national security. Well, I'm not the only one that was willing to do that. Like I say, they're just those people are supposed to just die, but national security's they're still alive. National security's following laws. But while I have them, while I have them, I told the scientists that I wanted to do this sleep education, osmosis thinking, or like osmosis learning, basically, and that then they comprehended that because the military guys showed them that things that they would talk, because the military guys used to use it, things that I would talk about would be information that when I was asleep they would use it. They would. And then I would wake up and then I would talk about it. Okay? And so that's where the scientists that were helping them, that's where once they realized that I was able to comprehend stuff while I was sleeping with those speakers in the past, that is where, right when I heard them talking about it, in it, while I was awake, because I can hear people talking in it when I'm awake also, okay? And that's where I told them that I wanted them to do the sleep education, and then that was the smartest thing that they had ever heard, ever in their fucking life. And then they started researching on what that would be. And so I basically laid it out, okay? You see, these people in this town, they're so fucking dumb that being a wizard, their world is so fucking dumb that it requires dumb and smart, or stupid and smart, I guess. Which is like the military guys. They wonder, do they notice how all of their little secret little world isn't a clearance system? Do they notice that yet? My profile in the dark web is not a clearance system. It's a grim, stupid fucking retards into blatantly using it as their top secret system just to expose to the world system. Do they get it yet? They don't get it? It's not meant for their fucking stupid ass, like, delusional encryption shit. That stuff, that's just a military guy. That's a military guy grooming you people with delusional encryption. No, he won't want you people to know that. He won't. See, every time you guys get your delusional encryption or something, then he presses a button. And that years go by, and he grooms you with a group of military guys that he has. Here's what it is. I'm just going to be blatant. They'll still do it. This is how dumb. This is how make dumb. It's a fine-tuned scientific process in Tri-Cities. Because I can sit here and tell these people exactly how fucking stupid they are and everything about it, and that they'll still do it. They still will. So, there's a group of military guys that basically use copies of my profiles. They have approved access to that stuff, and that every time that you guys think that your delusional encryption is like giving you guys some sort of like weird secure system, it's not. But they make you all believe that. And then over years, you all believe that. And then periodically, they just don't. They just don't. They just don't press the button. And essentially, that's where they're just, pedophile, the Jeffrey Epstein pedophile world, they're all about grooming their child victims. And that in the Jared Massey world, it's all about grooming abusers of little children. It's meant to groom all of you. It's meant to caterpillar handler all of you. It's meant to make you all dumb and fucking retarded. It's meant to make all of you exposed. See, to be Anakin, you were supposed to be the chosen one. In Jared Massey world, like what? I am chosen by the horrible fucking empire to expose pedophile Jedis. By grooming them instead of little children.